Good afternoon or good morning, everybody, depending where you are in Australia. My name's Trevor Monaghan. Let me just go back to our first slide here. So welcome to today's webinar. As you obviously already know today's webinar is for Alliance Partners of our Safety Hero software. Today we're going to talk about very briefly what the software does. Hopefully by now most of our partners or potential partners have got an idea about what the software does. And again, we can certainly have one-on-one sessions with each partner after this, so this is not your only chance to see the software. But today's session is it's really all about you. It's about, as a software consultant or as somebody that sells software, what's in it for you, how do you and your clients benefit from using the Safety Hero system, and what are we putting in place as a business ourselves to support you in that endeavour. At the end of the day, if we can support you guys so that you make money, your clients are going to win, and obviously we'll win as well. And that's what we're trying to aim for. So this is only a half-hour session, so we will race through. As I said, we're not going to go into too much detail about the software itself. If you do have any questions, please feel free to type into your questions box at any time. We will answer them as we go. So don't be afraid about dumb questions. Ask it. If we think everybody should benefit from the answer, we'll answer it online. If not, we might take that offline and answer it to you later. So who's involved in this business? So Aaron Robertson is our software architect. He's going to talk in a minute about where the software's come from and where it's going. Sam Roberts is one of the directors as well, and our lead solicitor, also has his own legal practice. He's going to talk briefly about safety and the law and what part you've got to play. And I'm a chartered accountant and business valuer. My name's Trevor Monaghan. I'm also a director, and I also advise businesses about all different issues, not necessarily safety. I come in more from the total business perspective. So what I'll do is we'll hand over to Sam Roberts, and Sam's going to give us a quick rundown of the things he wants to talk about today, and then after that we'll go to Aaron, and then we'll wrap up with some details about the benefits for partners. So let me just hand over the screen to Sam. And again, please ask questions at any time if you feel the need. Okay, Sam, if you could just share your screen, all right? Seeing it now, fantastic.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yep. Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. So what you're seeing now is the dashboard for Safety Hero, and I don't propose to go with the software because it is quite comprehensive, but I guess the reasons why this software exists is primarily because of the obligations of due diligence introduced early last year in the work health and safety laws. And that there's therefore a need to be proactive in identifying where there's risks and hazards associated with businesses' workplace activities, its locations and equipment, and then ensuring that appropriate steps are taken to manage, eliminate or minimise those risks and hazards, and also then subsequent to that tracking incidences and I guess learning from those instances to again improve the safety for employees. So there's twofold reason why a system like this is beneficial to a business. One is it does deliver a safer workplace for its employees, and therefore you're going to have less downtime and losses associated with downtime. And secondly is that there is a need to fulfill the duty of due diligence. It is quite significant. There are potential significant fines and even jail time if there's a serious breach. So a director or a business owner really does need a system like this to operate as a bit of an audit trail to show what they've done to be fulfilling their duties of due diligence. So this system does more than just track work health and safety management matters. It does have return to work provisions as well under the workers' compensation, but essentially the starting point when you're setting up a business, you're identifying all the hazards and risks across the locations. You've got up the different workplace locations, the different activities, and in the course of setting them up, you're identifying risks and hazards and going through and looking at how they can be managed. Once all set up, sorry, you've got the equipment down here as well. Once all those things have been set up, then really it's just a case of using the system to deal with incidences. And I guess as you're setting up a new site or a new activity, or you've got a safe work method statement, the previous incidences and hazards or risks and hazards rather that you've identified will allow you to more quickly generate those sorts of reports That's an overview of the system. It is very comprehensive. It should cover all things needed to comply with the duties of due diligence. And I'll just hand over to Aaron now, who can sort of give you a bit of an overview about why it's our belief that not only is the system, I guess, fantastic in that it covers all the legal requirements, but it's actually the best system in terms of speed and user-friendliness.
Hello everybody. My name's Aaron Robinson, and just a bit of an introduction about my background in relation to this type of system. So for the last 10 years I've been either working in software development at a senior level, either the program manager or software architect or the senior programmer for WHS and LH&S systems. And the products that I've used just have basically been used in the biggest corporations in the world. Worked with BHP, OneSteel, Rio Tinto, the ports over at Fremantle, up the Northern Territory, with SGS, with Santos Oil and Gas, and so forth. And throughout my career, I've basically been consolidating a giant wish list of what the software can do. So basically, when we started to develop this product, our aim was to try and incorporate all of the features all of the best features into one comprehensive system, and our objective was to try and make that have a lot of simple usability. So the system has to be simple to use, it has to have all the features that people want, could possibly want, and the ability to be able to remove the features that people don't want. And primarily it has to be scalable and it has to be fast, and what we've done is we've been able to achieve that in this system. Also, the requirements was that it had to work across multiple browsers, on multiple devices. It had to have simple and basic search functionality, and we needed to be able to filter the results to get what you want. So if we have a look at the people screen here, I mean, just to show you how simple it is to find somebody, we've got a basic search field, so we can search for everybody that's, you know, for example, a dozer operator. We've got filters up on the top screen here. Show me a list of all the first aiders, for example. Show me members of my staff. There's only one in this case. And these filters, it's just a matter of making as many filters on any of the grid as quick as possible. So, for example, if we were in equipment management area, we've got no filters currently on the plant and equipment at the moment, but it's a simple matter of saying, you know, give me my equipment that currently needs maintenance. Give me safe work method statements that are outstanding or need to be looked at. What incidents currently need to be managers' comments put on them. So the system's nice and flexible, and it's very fast. And adding records is nice and simple. And you just have to simply double click to open up a record. So this is a complicated form, and these forms are accessible anywhere in the world. And any documentation that you've got uploaded, the documentation is not stored on a single central computer and only restricted at one place. The documents, you could be adding this here and then open it up in another country, and that document's immediately available. So all of the client's policies, procedures, SWIM statements, emergency plans, risk assessments, audits, once they're uploaded, they're basically accessible anywhere in the world. So that's just a brief insight into the approach and the attack that we're trying to put on the system. And I've worked with a lot of different systems like this, and I'm confident that ours is the greatest in terms of the feature set that's involved, the usability, and also the speed. Thanks, Trevor.
Thanks for that, Aaron. I'm just taking back control now. So we've seen a bit about the legal requirements of the system. We've talked about, you know, what does the system technically do, where does it fit in with other systems, and now let's talk about, you know, our partnership. So at the end of the day, there's a reason we call this an alliance partnership, is because we are partners together. Let's quickly go to a slide here. Okay, so these are our benefits for introducers. At the end of the day, we have to share with you how we plan to run our business and our business model, because it's important. Because we're going to be partners, you need to understand where we've come from and where we're going. We'll share a bit of that today as well. So let's look at the numbers, look at the nuts and bolts of what you get as a partner. So we've looked at this and thought, well, rather than us be the marketing department and be at the coalface selling this system and having our own BDMs and people on the road, we thought, we're never going to be in a better position than what the safety consultants and software consultants are going to be in. Okay, so we've looked at that and said we're not going to be arrogant enough to tell people exactly how to run their business. We're going to sit back and we're going to provide a tool so that people that are already telling people how to run their business can use this tool to do their job better. At the end of the day, you're going to be rewarded by your client and you're going to be rewarded by us for doing that. So that's our business plan. We don't hide behind that. The reason that we're doing a bit of a push at the moment is because we want a critical mass of customers. We're not going to lie about that. And we're growing as fast as we can. We've got a lot of interest and we're just trying to make sure that we can grow in a scalable way. Now, so the nuts and bolts of the partner program, just let me know if you can't see the screen, type a comment in your questions, but hopefully everybody can see it. So we've got 100% of the first monthly license fee. We'll talk about trial periods and everything like that in a minute, but as soon as the client starts paying us, in that very first month, and generally how it works is there's no upfront fees. It's a monthly fee that your customer would pay us. You get the first month 100%. So we might have a situation where the pricing is about $900 plus GST for a sort of a medium-sized business. So in that first month, you're getting $900 plus GST. The mechanics of that is basically as soon as we get paid, we ask you to invoice us, then we pay you. There's no delay in that. And then on top of that, there's what we call a trailing income or ongoing fee, and that's for as long as you're a partner with us, and as long as that client keeps paying us, you'll keep getting a trailing fee. There's an expectation within that if you're the software consultant or you're the safety consultant, you will have some kind of ongoing relationship with that customer. You will be their first point of call, which is actually going to be in your interest to be so anyway, but you will be the first point of call with customer queries. Obviously, technical issues about something's broken or there's a bug, that's for us to fix. But in terms of what do I do here, the questions like that, you're going to be the first point of call. So normally that's 10%. So again, if we're looking at basic figures, you've got one client that pays $900 a month. You get $900 the first month, and then you get $90 every other month for as long as you stay in the system. If they upgrade and pay us more money, there may or may not be extra fees on those things. Depends on the situation. But for this month only, because again, we make no apologies, we're trying to ramp this up and get a critical mass as quickly as we can. We're going to offer 40% lifetime for any alliance partner that signs on dotted line this month. You don't necessarily have to refer this month, although we certainly are going to encourage you to do that. The whole idea is that we're trying to incentivize people to refer. We will be involved as much as we need to be in the sales process to help you to explain this, demonstrate this, and effectively sell this to your customer. Assuming that it's in their best interest, it is the best system for them. We're certainly not going to do any kind of unethical selling. But if you sign up as an alliance partner this month, any referrals you give us forever and a day, we don't see an expiration on that. They will all attract the 40%, not just this month's referral. So it's very, very lucrative offer we're putting forward, and we're doing it deliberately to get as much bang as we can in the shortest amount of time. And after November, we will not be offering that to anybody else. In addition to that, you charge your normal rates for implementation. So we don't want to be an implementation business as such. We've done the hundreds and possibly thousands of hours of development to create a very good one-size-fits-all system. You still have to input data into that system, so there's things where you'll have to put in your employees, your equipment, upload your policies and procedures that currently exist. All that kind of stuff is going to be done by somebody. The client can do that themselves, or ideally they justify paying you to do that or do some part of that. So if they don't have policies and procedures at the moment, then they're going to buy them from you. You're going to pay them they're going to pay you whatever you normally charge for policies and procedures. That's not part of the software. And then you're going to work with them to get those into the system. It's quite simple, but they're going to need just someone to guide them. We envisage that you will charge them a fair rate for that. And then they'll start paying us because they're using the system after the free trial period ends, and you also get those commissions. But on top of that, you'll also be involved as much or as little as you want throughout, between now and infinity for that client. You can decide how you're going to structure your services around this system, whether you're going to have any kind of regular monitoring, whether you're going to do any kind of regular meetings or reporting using that information in the system. That is entirely up to you. We'll certainly have some suggestions about the best way that we think you can monetize this system. but you can decide how much you want to be involved. So we're not going to dictate how you interact with your client. That's your business, and we're certainly not going to put our hand out and want any part of those implementation fees, unless you and your client request us to do some custom development work, and of course we're going to have to charge you for that. We don't envisage that anybody needs custom development work for us to get going in the system. Okay, so you charge your normal rates for monitoring, so that might be that you have live monitoring, so that every time an incident happens you get a notification. You can either charge some kind of monthly retainer for that, or you can charge a per notification fee, or you can charge nothing. It really depends on how you want to charge that, and even whether you want access to your client's system. We've built the system so that the safety consultant can be notified, or anybody external can be notified under certain conditions for everything that happens or just some things that happen. And really we've built that so that, again, our referrers and our alliance partners need to have as much or as little ability to have an input and be paid for their services as much as you want to. And again, we'll certainly have our own suggestions how that might work best, but it's really up to you. So you charge your normal rates for WHS policies and procedures. So one questions we get asked a lot from people that are looking at buying our software directly off the street, they don't have a safety consultant, is this going to give me policies and procedures? And we're very quick to tell those people, no, it does not, and that's dangerous. If it did, you need a safety consultant, right? And the best safety consultants out there that are worth their salt will tell you that there is no such thing as a one-size-fits-all template, and anyone that's bought an off-the-shelf template and filled it in is probably they've probably not protected themselves at all by doing that. That's not to say anything against the people out there in our audience today that do sell those templates, but I'm sure you are offering some kind of service to customize those, and you wouldn't suggest that people are going to fully comply just by filling in blanks in a template. So we believe in that ourselves, and we think that everybody should have, whether it's an ongoing relationship or just an initial relationship, they should have a safety consultant, and we will be pushing that angle very heavily. Which is different to a lot of other systems that you might have a basic app or something that might be effectively just the fill in the blanks template. That's what they're selling. We're not that system. We're the system that says you need to pay somebody a fair rate to get those systems in place, and then once you've got those policies, procedures, checklists, documents, audit procedure, whatever you want to have that you would typically sell and consult with your clients on, then those can be easily stored and incorporated into our software. So in the basic sense, you've got these things in Word documents. You might already have your off-the-shelf Word documents that then you help fill in the blanks and customize for your clients. Great. You don't throw those out. You keep those. You upload them into the system, and people can access those templates, whether it's in Word version, whether it's a PDF version, whether you want to have videos, you can upload videos in. You might have already created those or bought those for your client. They all get uploaded in the system, and then you work around those. Everyone's got access to them, and then you can input data into your normal, your employee sections and your equipment sections, your hazards, risks, incidents, all that kind of stuff, upload your photos, working around those systems you already have. Some people have asked us, can we actually build these Word documents, questionnaires that we've got into the actual online version of the software, so they're actually fields in the software? Yes, we can do that. It's not coming out of the box with that because everybody's system's different, everybody's policies and procedures are different, but certainly if you've got a client that's willing to fund that development, absolutely, and we are doing that for one client at the moment. So we're not saying we don't want to do that. We're saying if you want to do it as cheap as possible, you provide the systems you've already got. If you've got a client that's looking to get systems or looking to use a system like ours so they don't need policies and procedures, then they don't know what they're doing, and we'll certainly help them be educated to point them in the direction of one of our partners. So from your point of view, you're using Safety Hero as your competitive advantage. So that probably applies more to safety consultants than just our software consultants on the call today. But the idea is that then in your marketing, you're not just saying, I can provide templates, I can provide consulting, I can provide best practice, this or that. You're actually saying, well, and you've got to record all this data. We've got a system that we've got access to that we can implement for you that's going to record this. And I'll talk in a minute about how that works in my particular industry of accounting and how that's worked over the last few years in the favour of us as the consultants. But really, this is something that you can market. We'll help you to market so that you get a better type of customer that is more than happy to see safety not just as a cost center but as a value add to their business. It's going to save cost in terms of lost downtime and that kind of stuff. And they're actually looking to you as part of the solution that's going to make their business better, not just comply with the laws. And to do that, yes, you need to have some good marketing. You need to show that you've got a solution focus, not just an hourly charge rate focus, not just a template focus. So we're aiming that the whole idea of this from your point of view, you then establish yourself as different to your competitors that don't have the system. And again, we talk to a lot of software consultants that sit back and say, well, it's not really our role to talk about software. We don't feel comfortable recommending software. At the end of the day, I believe 100% it's your role, as much as it is as an accountant to advise people what accounting software to use. As a safety consultant, it's your job to advise people what safety software to use. I'm sorry, you can't abdicate from that responsibility. In my mind, I think that's what I'd want from a safety consultant. Give me a full solution. Don't give me some templates and then leave me on my lonesome to go and find and talk to software people myself. Now, you might find that you've got 2 or 3 different alternatives when we might not be the only partner software. We're certainly not asking you to have an exclusive arrangement with us. We'd like it, but we're not insisting on that. So you can still have an option or a suite of options for your client, but you need to be part of that solution for your client. That's going to give you a competitive advantage, and it's going to justify the other fees that you charge to your client. Regardless of what we pay you, that's going to justify high fees. And of course, all of our alliance partners will be promoted as such on the website and any other way that we can assist you. Certainly in some ways that we suggest that we might be able to help you in that regard. So logistically, becoming a partner is pretty easy. So you submit an application. I know some of the potential partners on the call today have submitted their applications. We will vet that to make sure that we're partnering with people that are trustworthy. We'll do the usual Google searches and talk to people and make sure we're not dealing with people that are not good for our brand. If you're approved, you'll receive a formal alliance agreement, which is basically just an agreement to protect both of us. There'll be no surprises in that, but it just documents the relationship. You begin introducing Safety Hero to your clients and prospects. I'll show you how you do that in a second. You'll receive the ongoing training and support from Safety Hero, and again, I'll talk about that in a second. And then you receive your monthly commissions. Of course, the first month is going to be the large one, and then after that, your 40% commissions for people on the call today and 10% commissions for people that don't make it by November. So before we get there, let's quickly just now look at some of the documentation, just to give you an idea. So this is the Alliance Partner application, very simple form on your screen now. So it's basically saying, what are your details? Tell us about your business. What is the nature of your business? Are you a safety consultant, a lawyer, a software developer, or reseller? What are you? Tell us about your clients, what type of industries they're in. You email or fax that back to us. We consider it. We'll come back to you. If you're approved with an alliance agreement, just see if I've got a copy of that here. Before we go there, it's not so relevant to today's session. What I'm going to show you is the access application. So assuming you had a referral, this is the form you fill out with your client. So basically it puts your client's details, decides what kind of level of usage they want. You pick your trial period. At the moment, our default trial period is 1 month. Your client signs off on that. We then give them a full access terms and conditions as part of that. They've got 1 month to cancel before anything gets charged. So in essence, you could start referring this, you apply to be a partner today. We vet that within 24 hours or so. You'll have an approval. If it goes that way, you sign the actual proper contract. That all happens the same day. You introduce us to somebody. We'll talk about how that might work, but we'll talk to them, or you'll talk to them, or we'll both talk to them. Somebody puts this form in front of the client. They sign up to a 1 month free trial with no obligation. They start using the system almost instantly. Them, or somebody else starts entering data. They start, giving limited access if they want to certain staff, or they can open up to everybody. They start using the system. They've got 1 month to decide whether it's a system for them. At the end of that month, if they haven't cancelled, they'll be starting to get charged. And from then on, you get the commissions. Like I said, the first month you get the commission, and the next months after, for as long as you maintain your agreement with us, and as long as they maintain paying us, you keep getting your commissions. Now, on top of that, as I said before, then it's up to you to decide how much, if anything, you charge for any ancillary services. You might need to charge for some implementation. You might want to charge for reviewing or creating, if they don't have them already, policies, procedures, all that kind of stuff. It's up to you how you charge for that. And in terms of the pricing, I'm not sure if you looked at other systems. It's hard to get an idea of what these other systems cost, but for the average size business with sort of around about the 20 to 50 staff, from what we're seeing, other systems are sort of around the $15,000 to $20,000 per annum. Some of those have an upfront cost with additional monthly costs on top. We haven't found a system that doesn't have an upfront cost. And then when you start getting larger companies, you start looking at no one will build a system without doing hourly rate, because what they need to do is try to link it into their existing ERP system and that kind of stuff. This system can work standalone with an SAP, an Oracle ERP system. So this, we're quite happy to implement this for a BHP site today. We don't have any reservations about that. It won't necessarily talk to their other systems instantly, but it'll certainly, especially for a business that might have a bit of a patchwork system that doesn't even work with ERP. What we're finding is even these large multinationals, their safety system is still a series of spreadsheets. So at the moment, this system doesn't talk to the ERP. It doesn't link through to the invoicing system and the timesheet system. It doesn't do that now. If they want that built into their ERP, it's going to cost them, probably about $1 million plus. They can still have this as a standalone to replace at least what they're doing with their patchwork spreadsheets and that kind of stuff. And this might be to them just a 1 to 2 year gap solution. We hope that in that time we've convinced them that actually will build into the ERP. But, in terms of risk, it's a very low risk for somebody getting in, regardless of the size of the business. So we think the price is very reasonable. We think it's not going to be hard to sell it to a medium to large size business, especially if they've been thinking about building it into the ERP, or they've looked at getting quotes of other standalone software. And again, no risk of them getting a trial on our software and having a look at the functionality. As Aaron said, we find a lot of these other systems are very cumbersome. They still look like a DOS-based system. We've got smart screens that we can actually do things where you choose something from a drop-down, then it actually changes the form live before your eyes, so it actually then produces different fields based on what's relevant to the drop-down you've selected. Where other systems, it won't remove anything. You've still got 100 fields, and you've got to work out what are the relevant ones now, and what don't you have to fill in. So we've got some very smarts around the system we haven't seen in the other systems. And again, like I said, that can work standalone, doesn't necessarily have to talk to their existing ERP. We'll also, of course, give you a demo account as an alliance partner, so then it's up to you to then you can use that without necessarily having someone sign this access application. You can still show them some data. You can add some data in front of their eyes. You can start talking to them about how this would fit in with your consulting services. And we do encourage you to build this into a consulting service as just one of the elements of your service. So I just want to quickly just answer some of these questions that have come through. So Sarah Jane, you've asked about an app. There's a reason you'll see these apps heavily marketed. That's because they've generally got this standalone system that at the moment that installs on a server. It's not in the cloud. And then for someone to use that on site, they need some kind of handheld device, standalone system that then can talk to this other system. The reason for that is because their initial system hasn't been built in the cloud to start with. So Aaron talked about, we've built this in mind so it works in any browser, as long as on any device, as long as it's got access to the internet. Okay, so you don't. We are in talks to develop an app for one specific customer because they've got a particular need, because they deal with a particular multinational that needs things done a certain way. But generally, you pull out your iPhone, iPad, any kind of device, and you see the screens that you see on a computer, and you can add or view information. We're developing a few more user-friendly screens, but at the moment you can pick up an iPad and do everything you can do on a computer. So you don't need an app, and everybody sort of likes the word app because it's sexy and that, but at the end of the day we just have to show people, look, here's an iPad, you're standing on site, as long as you've got an internet connection, you can do everything someone at a computer could do. We don't necessarily recommend that you do everything on the app or on the device, because what's usually going to happen, you're going to do some level of data entry, you're going to create a hazard or an incident on site, put some basic details, and that might be fleshed out later in the office anyway. Nobody's going to sit there with an iPhone or an iPad and do all their work on it. At some point they're going to come back to the computer. But the technology is not going to stop you doing that if you wanted to. Another question here about the pricing. Is a monthly fee for the customer $900 per month per user or per company? Good question. It's per company for a certain level of users. And so what we mean by that, for 1 to 50 users, it's for 20 gigabytes of storage, it's $990 per month, including GST. You can see that on the Access application. And for 51 to 500 users, a 60 gigabyte storage limit, and it's only double the price, so it's $1980. So again, a lot of other systems have got something like a $50 a month per user type thing. We've gone, well, that sort of is disincentive to get the users involved. We'd rather go, well, for the 1 to 50 and then the 51 to 100, the price is the same. And then they don't have to worry about limiting access to, so people on site can't use it because they're trying to save a buck. Let the people on site have access to it. Let them do some basic training on it and some basic data entry. We don't want to have cost a reason that people aren't being as safe as they could on the work site. So again, that's something again that is a differentiator. They can go and get quotes from our competitors, and they'll find that our stack's up very favourable in that regard. Will there be a referral system to the partners if a client wants consulting work? Yes. So again, it's about, okay, we're going to display the partners on our site so they can either choose that themselves or we might find the closest consultant to them. We're certainly not going to have, it might be different. If you're a very large consulting firm and you've got hundreds of consultants around Australia, we might do an exclusive deal with you if the price is right for both of us. But that's certainly not our vision. Our vision is that we're set up so that the one-man band consultants with decent-sized customers can still be an active participant. We'll still give you all the tools you need to help sell the software and to help pick up those large customers. So it's not just a matter of us trying to get money from your customers. We're trying to help you get more customers and a better quality of customer, and giving you some tools so that you actually look like a better organisation yourself. Well, better is probably not the word. You look more like a more well-established, tech-savvy and progressive organisation compared to your other competitors, even if you're a one-man band. Okay, it's all about us helping you do that, and then you doing your job. You be a really good consultant. You help them with safety issues, building policy procedures, and monitoring their system. Again, what you charge for that is up to you. We can certainly have some ideas about how you might want to package that based on what we see work in other industries and other software. What's Hazard Hero? Hazard Hero is a very cut-down version of Safety Hero. And on our website, I'll just quickly show it to you. Packages. So basically, it's Safety Hero without hardly any of the features. Okay, so again, we're upfront about our pricing. You won't find pricing on any other of our competitors' websites because they want to reserve the right to price more if the customer's bigger. Okay, we're just going to say no. The price is the price for a certain level. We're quite happy to stick with that. Now, in 2 years' time, we might decide that's wrong, but we're certainly going to grandfather the people that are in the system already. So, again, there's a lot of benefits in getting your clients in now because we might find that people would have paid $5,000 a month. We're not going to be stupid. We're not going to just keep the price low. But at the moment, because we're trying to get that traction, this is going to be the price. And as I said, for I'm not sure what our agreement says, whether it's a 12-month thing or for everything, but if you have your client sign up now, that price is going to be honoured for a long time to come. But Hazard Hero, basically, as you can see, it doesn't have many functions. It's really designed for people, the solopreneur at home that doesn't want to spend a cent on a safety consultant. They might have got their template somewhere else. We're not interested. We don't really want to deal with these people. But if they want a very, very basic system they buy through our websites, they can have it. It's certainly not going to. It's not the type of client that you would be involved in because they're probably not going to want to pay you anything either. So, again, it's there. We haven't promoted it. We're never going to promote it. It's one of those things that probably go viral through Facebook or something. We don't really have any interest in that. It's there. It's certainly not something we're going to encourage our alliance partners to be involved with because they're not going to be your target customers. You're not going to make any money off those people. At the end of the day, you need people that can sort of afford and have the business themselves. That safety's worth $1,000 a month to get right, at least, and so that type of customer is a good customer to you because they see the value in safety systems and safety consulting. So, any questions about that before I move on? Okay, right. And again, it's in our interest to make sure that we encourage the end users. If they come to us and say, I want a system, we don't want a consultant, we're going to say, look, no, you need a consultant. We're not going to give you templates. It's dangerous. Go and find yourself a consultant. If you don't have one, here's a list of ones you might like. We're going to keep pushing that back to the consultants. We want the consultants to get bigger and better at what they do. And, of course, that means you're going to have better clients and more opportunities to refer our software. So it's in our interest. We're a partnership. We have to make your business grow because that's going to help our business. Okay, so we don't hide behind that. We're not going to tell your customers that we're trying to get them to spend more money on consultants, of course, but this is a conversation between us. So how this works in my industry, if you look at this is software called Xero, which is this online accounting software. 3 or 4 years ago, I had very hard time getting information from my clients, because I'd have to email back and forward these backups of the software that I would then open up the software on my system, on my computer. I'd make changes. I'd have to email them back the changes, and that would then have to be uploaded in the system. Then what happened, someone came out with a software that was like the same kind of technology in terms of it's in the cloud of our system, where the accountants, we had real live access to the client system. We could make changes online and the client could see the changes instantly. We didn't have to wait for emails to come back and forward and stuff. We could give real value on the spot. And on top of that, we could then offer services around that. So we'd have a service where we've got monthly reporting, a monthly conversation, and we would build that into, and we would actually offer out the Xero subscription as part of our fee absorbed into it. We might have a bundle where the Xero software might cost, let's say, $50 a month. I'd have a $500 a month service. The client wouldn't necessarily know what the Xero costs me, and my service was to monitor the system, log in every week and check a few things, and then have a meeting online once a month. So it was bundled into a value-add service, and the software was just one component. We're envisaging the best consultants out there in your industry will do that with our software. It will just be one component to help sell your whole retention service, where you're actually going to be doing reviews and monitoring, getting reports out of our system, but then also doing site visits and everything else, doing your audits and inspections as part of a value-add service for your client, and upselling anything else you possibly do for a client. Okay, so that's where we see it, and then the revenue that we give you should just be a blip, almost nothing on your profit and loss statement. As significant as it can be, we would hope that you're making at least that from extra consulting services you have, just because you've got access to the software, and the way this software allows you to have real-time information, which you can then turn back into a real-time service to your customer. Okay, so you certainly don't have to do any real work for free. And certainly, even though you're going to get paid a commission for us, we would like to see you getting paid by your client on top of what they're paying for the software. We think that's only fair, but you do have to be involved and actually add value above and beyond what the software does for it to be fair to your client. So I think, and we can talk one-on-one with each of you. We can provide you with some kind of marketing copy. And I guess from here on, what we're also willing to provide is when you bring these first referrals, and we are hoping that you're going to, each of you on the call today, going to refer something, very soon in the next days or weeks. We're quite happy to be involved in that sales process with the client. So if we need to have an online webinar, if they're within sort of driving distance of Newcastle, we'll come with you to your client meeting. We'll show them the demo you can sit in, and we're going to train you how we think it's best to basically explain the benefits to a customer. So you're not on your own in this. We're going to be involved for your first one or two sales as much as we need to be. Beyond that, we'll then give you ongoing training to get you to be able to do that yourself. But certainly, again, as I keep coming back to, it's in our interest to make sure that you sell this stuff and your client's using it properly, because then your business is going to grow and then our business is going to grow. So again, we're not going to hide behind any mystique about any of that kind of stuff. We want you to make as much money as possible because we're going to do well as well. So are there any questions about that? We will follow up everybody after this webinar. There's a few phone calls to make, so we might not make them all today. There are a few people on the webinar today, but we're going to ask you, who is this next referral you're going to give to us? Obviously, get your Alliance application in the next few days so that you can lock in that 40% commission. Even if we don't convert a sale within the next month, we will still honour that commission rate for you people. And we're going to talk about each individually about how this might work and provide any kind of marketing support. At the end of the day, we're business people as well. We can provide some business advice to you about, if you're a very small consulting business, how to get that business up and running. Give some advice around that, and obviously it's going to be around creating services that are value add to your customer, ideally using software like ours. And again, if you know any consulting friends, anyone in the safety industry that you think might benefit from this kind of conversation we're having today, we're going to record this session today, so feel free to pass this on to them. We'll give you a link to the video. Get them to call us directly, get them signed up as an Alliance partner during this month, and they'll also be eligible for the 40% commission. So, shout it from the rooftops, spread it as wide as you can. We'd really appreciate it if you do that. And again, when it comes back to it, we do this on the basis that we believe we've got the best system. We do look forward to your input. If you see something missing from the system where it would help you be a good consultant for your client, if it's going to help everybody, we'll incorporate that at no cost at that development. If your client wants some extra development, they want a timesheet system built in, or they want some kind of invoicing system built into it, we can talk about doing custom application development for that. If someone wants the iPhone app or the Android app because they just want it for whatever reason, we can look at developing that for them on a reasonable cost basis. We can do all that kind of stuff. We certainly don't insist that your clients have to spend any more than the monthly fee. And in terms of the question here about cancellations, what happens with their data? Like any system, there's a way of pulling the data out. So if they've put data in, we'll certainly have a system where they, at the very minimal, they can pull that data out in terms of CSV reports. So the text data can come out, and there'll be a way of taking out any documents and that kind of stuff. It's a bit of a manual process, which it is, with every system like this. It's a complex system. It won't necessarily have an export function you can import straight into any other system, because every system is very different, but we'll certainly help with that process of getting data out. Obviously, all our technology is making sure we've got backups constantly and overnight and all that kind of stuff, so you won't lose any data in that regard. It's just a matter of getting the amount of the data out in a way that they could then use that data and upload it somewhere else. And in terms of getting data into the system, we do have a functionality where if they've got that data in another system now, if it can come out in a CSV format, which is basically a text or an Excel format, we can then start looking at uploading that in. It's not necessarily part of, we wouldn't do that for free. We would certainly show people how to do it. If we need to be involved, literally from a labour point of view, we would look at a fair rate of charge for that. But certainly the functionality is already there in the software to be able to do that. It depends. If you've got 1,000 employees you want to upload, certainly that's going to save some time by getting them uploaded in. But if you've only got 10 or 15 employees, it's not going to take someone very long to input that data, in 1 or 2 hours maximum, I would have thought. Question about upgrades. So the beauty of this system, we're upgrading whenever we need to, so the upgrades are live. Effectively what happens, some of the upgrades we don't even have to shut the system to do, and some upgrades, it'll be like a lot of the cloud-based systems that are out there at the moment. We'll say, look, we're scheduling an upgrade at 2 a.m. on this particular date, sort of a week's notice, and we'll send some reminders before that, and the system might be down for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. It's the same with any cloud-based system. That's generally what happens, but some of the upgrades we can do on the fly without actually interrupting anybody's system. Certainly we won't be having any sort of upgrades during business hours, that's for sure. So any other questions there about any system-related things? At the end of the day, our job is to educate you enough to be able to sell this to your clients, and then to be able to incorporate that into your consulting services so that you make more money. Even if your client exits our system later on, you've already sold them into a service where you're still an ongoing supply to that customer. And again, as I've said, if you find something that you think our system doesn't do, we've built it so we can do rapid application development. We can add something, if you think our induction component is missing a particular aspect you'd like to see, then sometimes that's just a matter of within 24 hours that'll be built. Complex things might take a little bit more time, and as I said, if it's going to benefit everybody, we typically won't charge you anything for that improvement, unless it's just a customization that only one business would need. Then we'd look at a fair rate of charge for that. Do you get a demo system? Great question. Yes, you do get a demo system. At the moment, we can give you access to a read-only demo system. We will work with you to give you a live system that you can use, and again, we'll follow you up after this webinar today, each and every one of you, to talk about what that system might be, give you your login credentials, get you up and running, and then again, we do appreciate if you, once you've started using the system, and only not just at first glance, but once you start using it, if you think there's something missing or a better way to do something, we're a software development company. We can change that. It's not set in stone. We've got what we think is best practice, but we're very dynamic in that we can change things very easily. So so don't worry about whether something might be missing, and that and especially if you're talking about clients and the client says, does it do this, and maybe it doesn't do it right now. It could be a matter of 24 hours or so, and it does do it. So don't let that be an objection from a client. And basically, once you will get that live demo, once you sign the application to become an alliance partner, and then sign the subsequent agreement once you're approved. So again, that can happen with very, very short period of time, and then you'll get live access to the system. We have to do that to make sure we don't just have random people getting into the system and trying to hack it and all that kind of stuff. We need to know who we're dealing with, which of course you can probably understand. But like I said, that can happen within a day or two. We'll talk about that with you offline as well. So are there any other questions now about the software, about the business model or anything like that? If not, we'll leave it there. We will follow you up and see who you've got to refer and get those applications in and start working with you. And again, we'll give you any support that we can about the marketing of your business. At the end of the day, we want your business to expand. We want our alliance partners to have big businesses. That's going to help our business. And we certainly will do anything we can to help you do that. Just before we end then, is there any comments by any of the other panellists? Sam, Aaron, do you want to say anything else before we finish?
No, that's it. Thanks everyone for your time today.
Thank you.
Fantastic. And as I said, we'll give everybody a call this afternoon, see what we're up to, and we'll go from there. And do thank you for your time.